From Rome, it's only a 4-hour journey by express train to one of the most famous cities on earth.
Se il mare fosse toccio e i monti de Poenta, oh mamma che tocciada, oh mamma che tocciada, la memorosa vecchia che ha messo su bottega, a tutti a vendeva Poenta e baccaia, Poenta e baccaia. So innamorata di una tosa, splendida più di una rosa, ma proprio no che piace Poenta e baccaia, Poenta e baccaia.
Wow, this is absolutely incredible. How many train stations are there in the world where you can walk out and see this? There's sort of an unofficial list of required cities for people visiting Italy for the first time, and Venice is at the top of it. Once described as the most serene republic, its name is derived from the Veneti people who inhabited the region in the 10th century BC. With 118 islands, 150 canals, and over 400 bridges, the city that we today know as Venice was originally established as a safe haven from the barbarian invasions that followed the collapse of the Roman Empire, and later as a safe haven for counter-reformationists. In this hostile land of muddy swamps and fluctuating tides, the Venetian Republic flourished as a center of military power, culture, and trade, serving as its capital for 1,000 years, until it fell to the armies of Napoleon Bonaparte in 1797, finally succeeding where so many others had failed, before being annexed by the Kingdom of Italy in 1866. Today, this Queen of the Adriatic is one of the world's most popular and recognizable tourist destinations, and has been described by many as the most beautiful and romantic city ever built by man. Our first meal in Venice. This is our response to all those food travel shows who never show Italians eating meat. I already like this city. Okay, thank you. We have tickets already, but we don't know which Waterbus for Sunmark Square.
So inside boat number 2.
Number 2? Okay, grazie. To truly get a sense of how beautiful this city is, you have to see it from the water. And for most tourists, a ride on one of its iconic gondolas is a must. Well, a 40-minute gondola ride will set you back around 80 euros. But for just 9.5 euros, you can ride one of the city's public ferries and get spectacular views of the Venetian skyline without breaking the bank.
Passano sul mar le gondole, la civetta tra i sogni d'oro, ed ogni gondoliere con nostalgia sussurra la canzone sua d'amore. Venezia, la luna è blu, stanotte questo cuore sognando aspetterà. Venezia, la luna e tu, sulla laguna l'amor ci avvincerà.
What is the price?
Venice was the longest republic to ever exist, and over the course of its 1,000-year existence, it was ruled by 117 different elected officials known as doges, who were elected to rule for life. Today, the Doge's Palace is one of the most beautiful, iconic, and important buildings in the city. And right behind me, you can see the famous Bridge of Sighs, which actually has a really interesting local story behind the name. Constructed in the year 1600, it was the bridge that condemned prisoners would cross, and it is said that you could hear their sighs as they stood at those windows and looked out into the lagoon one last time. It was the famous Piazza of San Marco, the main square of Venice and arguably the most famous square on the entire world. The square is dominated by the impressive basilica of the same name. Dedicated to the patron saint of Venice, the present-day basilica was built around the year 1063 and is the third in a series of churches that were built to house the remains of Saint Mark, which were stolen from Alexandria by two Venetian merchants around 828. The church combines Middle Byzantine, Romanesque, Islamic, and Gothic elements and is regarded as one of the most beautiful and unique churches on earth. The Basilica's campanile is by far the most important attraction of the city and one of the most famous symbols of Italy. Though its origins date back to the 9th century, the present-day tower we see was only completed in 1912, and with a height of 323 feet is the tallest structure in Venice and one of the tallest bell towers in Italy.
Oh la la, I'll give you a take back.
To get into the city's main commercial center, one has to pass through this beautiful 15th century clock tower with its intriguing astronomical clock. Its placement was no accident, as it allowed incoming ships to see both the time and phases of the moon. Its bells ring slightly off the hour as to not compete with the campanile. Back in the old days, prisoners on death row would be forced to face the clock tower to see the exact hour of their death. To this day, parents discipline their misbehaving kids by threatening to show them what time it is. Oh, English. I finally found a proper pizza of this country, and yes, it has pineapple on it. It should be around here. Oh yeah, Silva too. Oh yeah, Wakanda Silva. This is it.
Number 1. This is a city map for you.
Thank you. To experience the true essence of this city, I feel you need to spend at least one night. Oh wow! Yeah, how many hotel rooms in the world can you go to and have this view? Look at that. Oh wow!
Here is more beautiful. In Rome you cannot relax.
Rome is a big city and...
Mili tu ludzie, co gadali, że w tej Wenecji tacy asshole. the city's Castello district, and it's one of 6 districts that make up the city of Venice, but uniquely it's also the only district that doesn't face the Grand Canal. More than half of Castello is situated within Arsenale, the naval base which occupies over 1/5 the area of Venice. And the whole district is actually a gentrified maritime neighborhood. And its square is much nicer and more authentic, and a great alternative to the overcrowded St. Mark's. Yeah, the square is just a few blocks from our hotel. This building you see behind you right here is the Church of Santa Maria. Origins date to the 7th century. The current church we see was constructed in 1493. Over the centuries it was inundated by fires and earthquakes, and during the First World War it was bombed by Austrian forces. The church combines Rinascimentale, classical and Baroque styles. Its gorgeous Baroque tower was completed in 1688. Canals, but look at these regular streets right here. Most tourists congregate around St. Mark's and the Grand Canal, but if you venture into some of the little side streets, you can often discover areas and streets that are completely void of tourists. Yeah, one interesting thing is that the streets here often don't correspond with the maps because they kind of keep shifting, but honestly I'm not even going to bother looking at the map because this is one city where you won't mind getting lost.
We can swim.
I've stumbled onto a dead end.
Let's go back.
Venice is famous for one of the oldest and most spectacular carnivals. Display some of the costumes you will see. The famous Murano glass. Behind me is the 15th century St. Zachariah Church. This former monastic church of the Benedictine order was dedicated to the father of St. John the Baptist. This Northern European church architecture is unique in Venice. It was here in this church where the Doges would celebrate their Easter Mass. Now, as beautiful as all this is, the main reason I wanted to visit this church is because it's home to a unique attraction that could only be found in Venice, and it's almost completely unknown to tourists. I found that it's going to flooded crypts of the St. Zachariah Church, and the reason they're flooded is because the crypts actually sit below the water level of the city. Wow, this is something you don't see every day, and I feel like I'm in an Indiana Jones movie. A to jakoś lepsze te pizze. This peculiar palace was built in the 15th century for the famous war hero Nicola Contarini. To say he was a jealous narcissist is an understatement. Local legend says he couldn't bear the fact that his beautiful palace was hidden out of public eye. So in order to make it stand out, He added this ornate Baroque staircase. It seems he fulfilled his massive ego, as renowned art historian John Rushkin called it the most elaborate piece of architecture in Venice. It also attracted Shakespeare fans as the home of one of the characters in Othello. Then in the 19th century it was converted into a lodging home. It was during that time that from atop this tower, German astronomer Wilhelm Temple discovered comet C1869 in the Marriott Nebula. Yeah, you're welcome.
I will do my best.
Oh, I can see my finger. If it's not good, don't blame me. I haven't used one of those. The cool thing about Old Venice is that it's entirely pedestrian only. Not even bicycles are allowed. So even though it's still a large city, it has the vibe of a small town, very charming and relaxing. And I have to say, this is one place where you don't even need an itinerary. You can just explore random streets and see what you find, because there's something beautiful around every corner. And I think this is one city that looks beautiful in any weather. But it doesn't matter how fancy your equipment is, it will never look as beautiful as in real life. Exploring around in the random streets, we actually stumbled upon one of the city's most famous landmarks, the Reupload Bridge. From up here you can get some of the best views of the Grand Canal, which is sort of like the main avenue of Venice. I've been wanting to try the country's famous limoncello. Yeah.
Volete assaggiare? Volentieri. Sour limoncello, tiramisù liqueur, pistacchio, a lot of things you can try.
Ale pachnie
A tak. Ah, yeah.
Non penso che sia attaccamenti, adesso comunque facciamo.
Sì, diciamo che non Adriatic.
Oh wow. If you thought Venice was impressive during the day, then you really need to see the city at night, because the place is truly magical.
Great.